Hey guys, David here and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to show you how you can modify your CNC machine to add CNC engraving and cutting functionality on the cheap. So first of all, I want to thank Banggood for providing the laser module you will see in this video. You can check it out at the link below and also check out some of the many other amazing products that Banggood offers at an extremely low price. Also, just a quick safety note before I begin. Whenever you're working with lasers of any kind, you absolutely have to wear safety glasses. Now, depending on which laser you're working with, the wavelength differs and there are different safety glasses for the different wavelengths of lasers. So make sure you get the right kind. So the laser module I got is this 2.5 watt module. It's fairly small and very easy to run. You just put power into the one end and then the laser comes out of the other end. It's that simple. Now there is a lens in the front where you can turn to focus the laser on a specific point to increase its power on a very fine point and also make a thinner cut. Now there are also some other laser modules available that have easier PWM functionality built in so that you can regulate the power as well. And like these kind of modules, they go up to like 5 watts. That's not gonna cut like through thicker wood or any metal, but it's gonna be enough to make some serious burning and also some thinner cutting. Now I went with a 2.5 watt model because price performance is right in the sweet spot there. Get enough power to cut through like paper and cardboard, but it's also very inexpensive. Now because this module is so light and tiny, I was just able to mount it to my CNC with some double-sided tape. Now if you have some easy way to mount it a bit more securely with like screws, then that's perfect as well, but if you're just like me and you just want to like play around with it at first, you can just use some double-sided tape and mount it somewhere on your X-carriage. Now, because the laser travels through the air, it doesn't have to move in the set direction necessarily. So you don't have to mount it where your spindle is, but you can mount it on the back as well, where it doesn't move up and down. Now, the electronics part of things isn't that complicated either. I hooked mine up just so that I can use a relay to turn it on and off with some commands in the G-code. Now you could hook it up to PWM as well so that you can modulate it and regulate the power. But I'm just gonna keep it very simple for you in this video. Now, my controller is the Arduino with the Gerbil software loaded onto it, but pretty much no matter what controller you're using, you're gonna find a pin or an output that is used for spindle control. On the Arduino it is pin 12 for me, but depending on which Gerbil firmware you're using, it may change a bit around. In many cases this pin will have PWM functionality built in, so in the software you're gonna have to set the PWM power high enough so that the relay gets triggered. But if you're using PWM with like some optocoupler or other form of amplification, then you're gonna be able to use this PWM signal. So what I did is just hook up one end of the spool inside of the relay to this pin, pin 12, and the other end to the ground. Now whenever this pin gets set high, the relay is gonna trip and connect the circuit. So the other end of the relay, the switching part, I set in line with one of the two poles of the laser. Now this way I can control with M5 and M3 the laser to turn off and on. The way that it's used in the software is with M3 to turn just the laser in general on, and then with the S I can set the intensity. That's because it's set to PWM mode, but I don't care really. I just set the intensity to like 3000 or something. I don't know what the maximum is exactly, and then the relay trips, and if I want to turn it off again, I'll just set it to 0. Now, speaking of software, the software I'm using to create the G-code is Fusion 360. I think it's a very great software because for hobbyists it's totally free and you don't have to pay anything. But the functionality that it offers is so good that many professionals use it as well. It has excellent cam and CAD built in, even some animation and other stuff that you won't even need. Now, the part of the software that I'm using is the waterjet laser part. Now, this part is just in beta for now, but in the settings you can enable this separately and then it works perfectly. I didn't have any issues with this functionality. Now, where I had a tiny bit of issues is in the post-processor. The generic Gerbil post-processor doesn't work, but I'm gonna post the name here of a great post-processor that does work, and with the Gerbil it worked perfectly and I didn't have to adjust anything except the power for the spindle maximum. So I set it to turn on the laser with like S3000. Standard was like S1, but that's very easy fixing the side of the post-processor. That's gonna depend though on which controller you use. And it easiest is to just Google on the Fusion 360 forum for the controller you use and laser. I'm sure there are gonna be some articles about it. Now let's give this puppy a test. So I just quickly drew up my logo inside of Fusion and used the laser cam to design it. Now there is still some Z movement in there which I haven't taken out because I was too lazy, but that's not gonna hurt anything. So let's watch how the laser does on this first try. Now, because I don't have any PWM control of my laser, I'm just using the feed rate to control how much power I'm setting into it. Depending on what material you're using, you're gonna have to adjust the feed rate accordingly. For this thin paper, I'm using something fairly quickly like 500 or 600. You're gonna have to play around with your machine a bit to find out where the sweet spot is. But as you can see, it cuts out very nicely and the cut is extremely clean as well. Now, if your cut doesn't look as clean as this at first, or maybe doesn't cut at all, you maybe have to check your focus. Now, the easiest way to find the focal point exactly is to fog up or smoke up the small area where your laser is shining so you can see the beam easily. Then you can see that it's gonna come to a point, but maybe you're gonna have to twist the front to get this point exactly to line up. Now, when this point is adjusted perfectly, then the area where the laser shines is extremely small, and therefore combining all the energy of a larger area to a smaller area, and therefore your laser is gonna appear as it has more power. Now, if you just want to burn it lightly, like if you want to do a light burn on the wood and you want a bit of wider pattern so that you don't have to do as many thin passes, you can intentionally set the focus a little bit wrong so that it's a bigger area with a little less energy and a wider path. Now, if you want me to test which other materials I can cut with this laser cutter, then leave a like down below and I'm gonna do another video about it. But for now, paper works great and burning around with wood is gonna work exceptionally as well. But maybe I can cut some cardboard, thin wood, or maybe some foils and other ideas. If you have some ideas that I should try, leave them down below and I will try them in my next video. So that's it for this video. If you managed to get your laser working with this tutorial, please leave a link or to some pictures down below. I'm very interested to see them. Or you can send them to me on social media, also linked down below. And if you're interested what I'm doing behind the scenes and some other stuff about me, you can also check out my second channel if you're into that kind of stuff. Now that's it. Thanks for watching and until next time.